MLB front offices can kind of be overlooked. To be honest, they can kind of make or break a team's direction depending on how aggressive a front office is. And certain front offices, honestly, kind of ruin their franchise. So today, I'm going to be going through and ranking every MLB front office. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. Truly would appreciate it. It's the best way you can show your support. Use code Century17 on SeatGeek. Grabs yourself $20 off your first purchase of 50 or more. Let's roll into the video. Back at the tier list. A nice 6 rows we got. Elite, great, good, alright, which I changed from mid, meh, and le peu. Now, just because a team is bad does not mean their front office is bad. Let's start here at the bottom tier in le peu and work our way up. I think about 2 front offices that are there, and it's 2 bad teams. It's the A's and the Rockies are 2 pretty much right off the bat you think about. One thing to note is that ownership definitely screws over what a front office can do. However, the Rockies front office really is an outlier. I think that they're the worst. They very clearly have times where they should be trading away players, and they never do. Trevor's story was an obvious one. Honestly, they should have traded Ryan McMahon. And then they paid the Cardinals to take Nolan Arenado. What? It's really bad. The A's are a little screwed over by their ownership, obviously, John Fisher. However, they also sometimes have guys that they should trade away, and they don't. Their DFAs and their management of young players also is just weird. And the returns they get for players is pretty bad normally. It's not very good. I honestly kind of want to put the Reds into this tier, but I think they're going to frontline my meh because they did go out and they actually made some pretty decent acquisitions here in the offseason, but they also kind of stand pat at this year's deadline. The deadline really kind of tells you a lot about these front offices. It's not great. I am going to drop them though because it just never really works out ever. And the Angels definitely need to go here. However, they made one trade I was very proud of, bringing in George Clausen when they gave up Carlos Estevez. That was pretty huge. It was like a really good return. Otherwise, it's never good. They never get a good return. They never trade away the right player. They still didn't trade away more than half the people that they should have. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. Ooh, and I think the Marlins have to go here. No. We're going to have them start the meh tier because while their direction is weird and they never really had a core for this rebuild they just went through and then kind of had to restart now, they made the right decision and sold off literally everything. I give them props for that, completely restarting. And they gave Giancarlo Stanton a contract they couldn't afford a while ago. I know that's so forever ago, completely different organization now. It's still in the back. I think the Pirates go here. It's just like they're kind of cheap as well, and then their GM says they're going to go for it and trade for pieces, and their big pieces are Brian De La Cruz and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. It's just not great. I think we have to put in the White Sox here. They couldn't get the move done for Kopech or Robert. I think they probably should have traded one of them. I keep saying Kopech. I'm so sorry. In the last video, I also said Kopech. I keep meaning to say Garrett Crochet, not Michael Kopech. Crochet and Robert. They probably should have traded one of them, probably Robert. They kept them both. It's fine. They can wait till the offseason, completely fine. But really, even before that, like their free agent acquisitions, like Benintendi was just a big miss. It's just not working. I think we go the Tigers in the meh. It doesn't feel completely right, but they haven't really been good recently. Now this year they hit. They got Flaherty, and that ended up working out for them. They were able to trade him away. They never really get a good return on anybody, and they kind of had to weigh a little bit whether they wanted Skubal or kind of probably Jackson Holiday plus. They took Skubal, and I don't really blame him. He's one of the better pitchers in baseball. And then recently, the Twins front office, weirdly just not very good. They don't really address needs. It's really weird. I don't know. The Pablo Lopez trade was big. They got rid of Luis Ariz, and they got in Pablo Lopez. Ever since then, it's really been weirdly, like they just don't fill holes. Never. Off season, no. Trade deadline, no, we're not going to do anything. I mean, they still have a good team, but like this front office needs to be more aggressive. It probably cost them a trip deeper into the playoffs last year. Let's move up here to all right. I think there's 2 teams here. There's going to be a lot of teams in this good tier, I'll warn you now. Here in the all right tier though, Royals and Washington, I think. The Royals recently this year have bumped themselves up. They kind of went for it a lot more now, and they made a lot of trades at the deadline. Nothing was really an impactful move, but considering what they had in the farm system, we kind of talked about it a couple weeks ago, like they kind of did fine. And then Washington, I mean, they kind of been in a loophole ever since they chose Strasburg over Rendon, but neither ended up being a really good decision, apparently. I think Rendon would still be a superstar if he was with the Nats, but trade away a lot of star players. And now you're starting to see the young core kind of get built back up. They've been fine. I kind of want them to make a bigger move, though. So let's go up a tier here to good. I think the Brewers go to good. I know they kind of always find a way. I think of them as the Rays, but worse. So I'm going to put them a tier below the Rays. Spoiler alert. I think the Blue Jays can be in good, too. I think think their front office has done the right things. It's just the players are underperforming. Like, this is not a front office issue. They built a dynamic pitching staff and a pretty good offense around the young core. I think Cardinals going good. They seem to always make trades and always be contending in some way. I think the Giants going good. They seem to always try to make the moves, and it never works out for them. I'm sorry. They have to be looking ahead to next year, though. They'll get healthier, and hopefully their acquisitions start playing a lot better. Cubs go here. It's a similar way. They make a lot of moves. I thought they had a decent deadline, bringing in Paredes and getting rid of a couple of guys. They were just kind of acquiring talent, as Passan said. Yeah, I think the Cubs front office is good. I don't think it's anywhere close to these upper echelon, though, because they don't really seem to hit on a lot of their signings. Here we go. I'm going to put the Yankees in good. I think that there's a real issue in the fact that they kind of get a lot of veterans at the end of their prime, and they expect them to be really good, just the same level. We saw with Stanton, LeMahieu, Rizzo, guys like that, and you're expecting these guys to play. Aaron Hicks, I mean, they really held on to him for a long time. It happens. They trade for these guys who are older at the end of their prime, and they expect them to be great, and it doesn't work out for them. It's just kind of how it's working. I think David Stearns is doing a good job as the Mets GM right now. I liked the thing they did last year where they kind of bought prospects. That's the thing. You have to use your strengths as your strengths. Steve Cohen's money is one of the Mets' strengths, and they used it last. Mariners go to good. They make a lot of trades. I wouldn't say they do a lot in the free agency department, but they make a lot of trades. A lot of times they work out. This year, it's doing pretty well. Snakes go to good. I didn't like their trade deadline, but overall, this offseason, they really went for it. They've been able to kind of go after it now the last year or two. Had the young core. They made it to the World Series last year. It's going a lot better. I don't think it's really up here because they're not as aggressive. They should have been willing to part ways with a couple of young guys. I think Boston goes here. I almost said give Heim time. Heim's not even there anymore. They could go into all right. If you were to ask me, I wouldn't argue with either one. I felt like this offseason was fine, not great. But the thing is that it's ended up working out for them. After consideration, we're going to drop them down. I think that they're kind of in the similar ilk as the Royals here, but they have more money, so it's weird. I definitely think they should be down here, though. All right, this is going to bump us up a tier here. We're starting in great with the Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland always finds a way. This year, they are somehow competitive. Guys, I think scouting has to do with the front office, of course, so I think we have to take it into account. It's ridiculous. How are they fielding this team? I don't know. It's magic from the front office. Trades, I can't say it goes great for them, but it's still going good for them record-wise right now. Rangers going great. They just won the World Series, and they did what they needed to do. They sold off a couple of little pieces, and they said, let's take our World Series team and see if they can do it again. And before that, they made a lot of really nice trades, getting themselves to a World Series, and they spent a lot of money. I give you a thumbs up. AJ Preller's Padres, I think that they go here to great. Very aggressive, makes a ridiculous amount of trades, invested a lot of money, but some of the investments were in the wrong place. The Bogarts contract's going to look really rough for a long time. The Machado contract probably going to look pretty rough. He's playing better this year, but overall, back end of that, yikes. You could say that about anything, though. So I think Anthopoulos and the Braves go here in great as well. I've been seeing some Braves Twitter stuff saying like he's kind of a one-year wonder. 2021 was his best work and really never again. Yeah, the Eddie Rosario thing did not work, and they just didn't have the farm system this year to do anything. We talked about that last video. They did not have the farm system to do anything at the deadline this year. So it's kind of rough. And then Tampa Bay. It's another thing. You kind of can't doubt the Rays very much. They always find a way, but don't do the thing in the free agency. So their ownership does hold them back. But they find stuff in trades like it's nothing. To the elite, I'm going to start here with the Astros. I think the Astros have an elite front office that always goes out and gets what it needs. They always fill any hole that's on their team, and they put their money in the right place. So for that, has to go. Dodgers, their development is ridiculous. They always put themselves in a great position to go out and buy, and they always make great trades as well. Baltimore, development's a really big part of this, but then this year they decided to go out and just get a lot of guys and fill in holes. And even last year they did the same thing. It's an elite front office, what can I say? The last one has to be the Phillies. Dave Dombrowski has done a phenomenal job with the Phillies. A top 4 job. Top 5, whatever. Brought in a bunch of guys. The contracts he gives out are stellar. The trades he makes, stellar. And he held on to a lot of really nice prospects too this year. Feels like it's a new Dave Dombrowski with similar interests from the past. That is the tier list. Let me know what you guys think. Enjoy the baseball this coming week. God bless. Keep them first. Have a good week. See you guys in the next one.